The Israel-Palestine conflict remains one of the most complex and deeply rooted geopolitical struggles in the world, and recent developments continue to reflect both its volatility and its global significance. As of 2026, the situation is still shaped by cycles of violence, fragile ceasefires, international diplomatic efforts, and worsening humanitarian conditions, particularly in the Gaza Strip. Following the escalation that began in October 2023, when Hamas launched a large-scale attack on southern Israel, the region entered a new and highly destructive phase of conflict. Israel responded with extensive military operations in Gaza aimed at dismantling Hamas infrastructure and leadership. These operations have included airstrikes, ground incursions, and targeted missions, resulting in significant casualties and widespread destruction. Entire neighborhoods in Gaza have been reduced to rubble, with infrastructure such as hospitals, schools, and water systems severely damaged or destroyed, exacerbating an already dire humanitarian crisis. The humanitarian situation in Gaza has drawn intense international concern. Millions of civilians face shortages of food, clean water, electricity, and medical supplies. Displacement has reached unprecedented levels, with many families forced to move multiple times to escape ongoing fighting. Aid organizations, including the United Nations and the Red Cross, have struggled to deliver assistance due to security risks and restrictions on access. While limited humanitarian corridors and pauses in fighting have occasionally been negotiated, they have often proven insufficient to meet the scale of the crisis. The blockade of Gaza, enforced by Israel with support from Egypt, remains a central issue, as it restricts the flow of goods and people, further complicating relief efforts and long-term recovery. In Israel, the conflict has also had profound effects. The October 2023 attacks left a deep psychological and political impact, with civilians experiencing trauma and ongoing security concerns. Rocket fire from Gaza and other militant groups has periodically continued, prompting Israel to maintain a high level of military readiness. The Israeli government, led by a coalition that has faced internal divisions, has been under pressure both domestically and internationally regarding its handling of the war. Debates within Israel have intensified over issues such as the extent of military operations, the fate of hostages taken during the initial attacks, and the long-term strategy for Gaza. Protests have emerged at times, calling for ceasefires or government accountability, highlighting the complexity of public opinion within Israel itself. The West Bank has also seen increased tensions and violence. Clashes between Israeli forces and Palestinian groups have become more frequent, and there has been a rise in settler-related violence and confrontations. The Palestinian Authority, which governs parts of the West Bank, faces challenges in maintaining stability and legitimacy amid growing frustration among Palestinians. Economic hardships, restrictions on movement, and the expansion of Israeli settlements contribute to a sense of stagnation and despair, fueling unrest and undermining prospects for a political solution. On the diplomatic front, international efforts to mediate the conflict have continued but with limited success. The United States, traditionally a key ally of Israel, has attempted to balance support for Israel's security with calls for minimizing civilian casualties and increasing humanitarian aid. Washington has engaged in negotiations aimed at securing ceasefires, facilitating hostage releases, and promoting a framework for post-conflict governance in Gaza. Regional actors, including Egypt, Qatar, and Jordan, have played important roles in mediation, particularly in negotiating temporary truces and humanitarian arrangements. However, achieving a lasting ceasefire has proven elusive, as underlying issues remain unresolved. The broader Middle East has also been affected by the conflict, raising concerns about regional escalation. Iran, which supports groups such as Hamas and Hezbollah, has been closely watched for its role in the conflict. Hezbollah, based in Lebanon, has engaged in periodic cross-border exchanges with Israeli forces, raising fears of a wider war. Other groups in the region, including militias in Syria and Iraq, have expressed support for Palestinians and, at times, carried out attacks linked to the conflict. While a full-scale regional war has so far been avoided, the risk remains a significant concern for international policymakers. Global reactions to the conflict have been deeply divided. Many countries and organizations have called for an immediate ceasefire and emphasized the need to protect civilians and uphold international humanitarian law. Protests and public demonstrations have taken place worldwide, reflecting strong opinions on both sides of the issue. Some governments have faced internal political pressure regarding their positions, highlighting how the conflict resonates far beyond the Middle East. At the United Nations, efforts to pass resolutions addressing the conflict have often encountered disagreements among major powers, limiting the effectiveness of collective action. Media coverage and information warfare have also played a major role in shaping perceptions of the conflict. Social media platforms have been flooded with images, videos, and narratives from both sides, sometimes leading to misinformation and heightened tensions. The battle for public opinion has become a significant aspect of the conflict, influencing international responses and domestic politics in various countries. Looking ahead, the future of the Israel-Palestine conflict remains uncertain. Discussions about a two-state solution, long considered the most viable path to peace, have faced increasing skepticism due to ongoing violence, settlement expansion, and political divisions on both sides. Alternative proposals, including different governance arrangements for Gaza or broader regional agreements, have been suggested but lack consensus. Rebuilding Gaza will require substantial resources and international cooperation, as well as a stable security environment, which currently appears difficult to achieve. Ultimately, the conflict continues to be driven by a combination of historical grievances, territorial disputes, security concerns, and competing national aspirations. Without meaningful progress on these underlying issues, cycles of violence are likely to persist. The human cost remains immense, with civilians on both sides bearing the brunt of the conflict. While diplomatic efforts and humanitarian initiatives provide some hope, achieving a lasting and just resolution will require sustained commitment, compromise, and a willingness from all parties to move beyond entrenched positions.